Long rumored for the past couple of days, but Donald Trump made it official just a few hours ago, setting the ticket as he chose Indiana Governor Mike Pence to be his running mate for the next few months leading to the November election. And Donald Trump says that will be the man with him inside the White House as his vice president. Carl Cameron spent a couple of minutes with both men just before they took the stage in New York and joins us now. Carl, how's that dynamic between the two working?
It's still a work in progress, I think. You know, there's been a lot of talk about this as such a chaotic process, and the Trump campaign was back and forth with deliberating as to whether or not Pence should really be the pick. But historically, when you compare this to vice presidential selection processes in both the Republican and Democratic Party over the last 20-plus years, it's fairly common. The truth of the matter is, Dick Cheney, who was the head of the search committee for George W. Bush's running mate, picked himself. There was a time when John Kerry was the Democratic nominee, and the New York Post said that it was Gephardt, and it turned out to be John Edwards. It's always chaotic like this, and a big part of it is the scramble that the press has. In introducing his running mate today, Donald Trump made light of the fact that during the actual primary campaign, Indiana Governor Mike Pence, who Trump did acknowledge was his pick yesterday, was actually a supporter and an endorser of Ted Cruz. Although Trump did say Pence said nice things about him while he was supporting Cruz. Watch.
When Governor Pence, under tremendous pressure from establishment people, endorsed somebody else, but it was more of an endorsement for me, if you remember. It was the single greatest non-endorsement I've ever had in my life.
Trump also gave sort of a standard stump speech talking about how he will be the law and order president, how he will fight terrorism, he will bring jobs back, etc. And after he introduced Mr. Pence, he pretty much left the stage. And then Pence expressed his humility, his gratitude, and his goals. Watch.
Donald Trump is a good man, and he will make a great president of the United States of America. And I thank Donald Trump for the confidence you've placed in us. And I accept your invitation to run and serve as Vice President of the United States of America.
They have in the past differed on some issues. Pence is a free trader and supported the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He has now adjusted that position. Pence had been a critic of some of Trump's rhetoric about banning Muslims. He now says that if it's to stop terrorists coming from countries where terrorism is rampant, he's okay with that. Trump is very, very socially conservative. Trump has had a variety of positions and has been registered as a Democrat and a Republican and back and forth over the years. Pence himself was a Democrat at one point, but became a Republican during the Reagan era and has been one of the scions of the religious right and real conservative Republican politics in the country. What Pence brings really is a calming force for those conservatives and folks on the right who have been a little bit suspicious of Donald Trump because of the past and some of the positions he's taken, particularly on social issues. Pence will reassure those at the convention who have misgivings that it will be a conservative ticket. And as for the idea of attracting Bernie Democrats or swing Democrats or independents, Pence is very, very conservative, but it was Donald Trump at the top of the ticket who was already appealing to those types of voters, so he didn't need a running mate that was necessarily going to be outreach to others. Donald Trump thinks he can do that. So now we have a ticket with a very, very conservative running mate, and Donald Trump, who is very, very conservative on a variety of issues, but on some he says there has to be exceptions and they should be negotiating positions because he wants to make deals. This is day one of the formally unveiled ticket. Next time we see them together, we'll be on the convention floor. Leland?
All right, we'll wait for that as we see Pence head back to Indiana. Jeff Sessions, a Trump supporter, coming up a little bit later on the decision process. Thanks, Carl.